Hello, and welcome to Symbols and Cynicism, a podcast where we talk about all of the things that I love, some of the things that I hate, and this wacky adventure that we call life. My name is Bob, I'm your host, and I'm glad you're here today for a way too early DCI prediction session with Harrison, our last books with Dawn, and what do you mean you can't be at the summer parade? Let's get started. Welcome back to today's program. Lots of fun today. Harrison is here. Dawn is here. But first, a piece of fan mail. Listener writes, you say, quote, more listeners is more fun, end quote. But if you don't know we are listening, how is it more fun? And if we listen after you make it, how can we possibly affect how much fun you are having? That's an interesting question because actually, when I say more listeners is more fun, I kind of think about that it's not like a live performance, right? When you're a performer and you have a live audience and they give you immediate feedback, you feel that immediate feedback. If you're an actor, you feel it and it affects your performance. If you're a musician, it can affect your performance. Hearing that ooh or ah or clap after gives you the energy, especially in marching band when you can see the audience better than like a darkened auditorium. Go back to the beginning of the podcast and listen to one of the first episodes. Now, I know that the audio quality is not great, but I indicate from the very beginning, 44 episodes ago, that I make this podcast because I needed a creative outlet, because I have a story to tell, because I'm not done giving back to the world of music education, but also because I thought it would be fun. Now, is it fun to sit in my office by myself and record this like I'm doing right now? Well, yeah, sort of. It's fun to write. It's fun to record. Is it fun to sit for hours editing each episode? No, not really. That is not the fun part. Are the interviews fun? Yeah, they're fun to talk to people. Our recurring guests like Dane and Harrison and Matt, and new people that we've met like Rachel and Jason Robb. But if a podcast falls in the forest and no one listens, is it still fun to make? No, not really. I can tell you that I have a lot more fun making episode 24 or 34, or like today, 44, when a lot of people have listened in the previous week. When I open up the app and it shows me a big number, that's fun. People like it. People are listening, and that gives me the energy to make the next episode, to have more fun on the next episode. It's tough to sit by yourself in your office and make a really fun podcast, especially if no one is listening. So no, you listening to this episode didn't make it more fun to make, but it will make next week more fun. And if I have more fun, it probably comes through the microphone and into your speakers, and therefore you will have more fun too. So therefore, before we get started, tell your friends, share us on Facebook. More listeners is more fun. If you want to financially support us, you can do that with the support the show link. You can also support us on YouTube by liking and subscribing at Robert H. Sloan RHS Music. We have old podcast episodes, shorts, Star Wars only episodes, playlist, and some other composition stuff. You can find us on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok at Symbols and Cynicism, a podcast, and RHS Music is on Facebook at RHS Music. On today's show, Harrison joins me for a DCI discussion, including way too early predictions. Dawn is with us for our final books session, and what do you mean you can't come to the summer parade? Let's roll. Bring in Harrison. All right. Harrison?
I've returned.
How we doing, buddy?
I'm a little older now.
You are a little older. Happy birthday. We always say happy birthday to Matt when he's here, but that's a different reason. We're recording it is actually your birthday.
It is actually my birthday.
It is also the last day of your junior year of high school.
Yes.
There's one more school day, but you exempted those exams, so you don't have to go in tomorrow.
Yeah, I get to rest.
So
recuperate.
You're a senior now.
Yeah.
And you're here for our way too early DCI discussion and predictions.
Way too early. All on vibes.
You ready to get into this?
Entirely on vibes. Yes.
I actually wanted to do this a couple of weeks ago, but you've been crazy busy with track and AP tests and some work shifts and everything. So we're going to get into it today. We got a lot of different topics to talk about. We're going to kind of be all over the board today. We're going to start, let's just start right off and kind of compare last year's predictions we made in August, DCI Finals week.
Yeah.
You and I did a little competition, which you won.
I did, by one.
By one, only because you picked the champion first, and I went the other way, and you picked right, and I picked wrong. It's very close. You won 6-2, and I had 5 wins and 3 losses. So it was very, very close. So let's kind of start there. Let's talk about the brass caption. Okay. So last year, leading into finals, I picked Boston as the winner. You picked Vanguard.
I did.
Boston won. So that was one of my captions. Was very close with the Bluecoats. They needed that 3-day average. But Bluecoats actually won on finals night. They needed that 3-day average. Vanguard was way down. Crown was like third. Fourth, yeah, you were way off the reservation there. So what do you think? Who do you have this year, early season? Who's winning brass?
Because it's so early and because this feels like such a surefire pick whenever someone goes, like a year in the past. If they go, who won brass in 2017? I mean, what are you guessing? You're guessing Carolina Crown. And what we're doing right now is guessing. And so I'm going to guess Carolina Crown.
You're guessing.
Go with God's Horn Line.
Carolina Crown, God's Horn Line. We have no idea what their show is.
Nope, no clue.
They are at spring training. The kids know.
The kids, I would hope so.
You would hope.
They're rehearsing music, so I hope that they know what the show is.
You would hope the kids know, but I guess.
And staff, yeah.
I mean, it wouldn't surprise me if the Bluecoats don't know yet.
Yeah.
They keep everything very, very under wraps. So you're going Crown. I am going with Bluecoats.
Okay.
I think they've been really consistent over the years.
They have a great sound.
They have a great sound. Their trumpets the last couple of years have just been just phenomenal.
On fire.
I'm hoping for a return of that trombone soloist from last year.
Yeah.
That dude was epic.
He might have aged out. I can't remember.
I don't know who aged out.
Somebody told me, but I can't remember.
And who didn't. But yeah, so I'm going, I don't know. Again, we don't know the Bluecoat show and probably won't until halfway through July because they wait.
Kevin knows what he's doing.
So long. Kevin knows what he's doing,
Can't pronounce his last name, but he knows what he's doing.
And a little different there. Kevin is writing some of the horn book. It's not just all Doug. No. It's a combination. They're kind of working him in. So I wonder how that sounds different, if there's a little bit more of
I predict that it's going to be very similar. Perhaps I don't know. That's a crazy thing to say, though. I was going to say maybe slightly higher energy because I feel like he's a little younger, sprier than they call him Grandpa. They call Doug Thrower Grandpa over there. But Doug Thrower writes some pretty high energy music.
Well, I was going to say maybe groovier. But they don't. You can't
get
groovier.
A whole lot groovier.
I don't know why. I think maybe they're just incorporating Kevin so that someday when Doug retires, they have sort of the heir apparent.
Like an apprentice.
More like an apprentice.
Deal, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was. That's what I was thinking there too. We do have the Bluecoats repertoire. They did post their repertoire list.
Exciting.
And boy, it sounds like the last 2 years. Lots of stuff that's very
similar.
The last 2 years of Bluecoats.
Perfect-ish. Great.
Yeah, you listen to this playlist. Like if you played this playlist for me and said, "Guess which drum corps this is?"
Oh yeah,
it would a 10 out of 10.
Yes,
it's a Bluecoats show. So they're not, at least musically, taking a hard left-hand turn, which I kind of expected them to, because they sort of seem to go in these 2-year cycles. Yeah, and they've done this 2 years of like the Sun Lux thing and the
Sun Lux this year.
The high scientific edge to it. I thought they'd go a little bit different, but at least not musically. It's very much their ethos. Let's go to percussion.
Okay.
Last year, leading into finals, I picked the Vanguard. You picked the Bluecoats.
Both are on.
0 for 2 on that one. Crusaders won
Yes.
drums, which, man, that was a surprise to me.
Perfect score
Yeah.
on finals, by the way.
Yeah.
20 out of 20.
Yeah, smoking. So, all right, who you got for percussion this year? Who you got?
I will take a piece of your book from last year and pick the Vanguard. I think they're going to be an even better drum corps in general this year than last year. I think their drums are classic. I think their drums, it's a lot like the Crown Brass pick. Very similar, just like if you have to guess a year who won percussion, guess Vanguard.
I mean, Vanguard is ridiculous. The history is definitely there. And I think Vanguard is still a little bit of a wild card, right? They took that year off a couple years ago.
Yes.
They came back with Vagabond.
Yeah, awesome. Great show.
Yeah, great show with
love
like
Kendrick.
no props. And then last year they took that the avant-garde,
Awesome.
just all the weird.
We saw that live. They sound amazing.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
are so sharp.
so
They're mean.
so edgy. Yeah,
Yeah,
mean.
they're
Yeah, mean. Like we play angry.
Yeah.
So yeah, what's Vanguard gonna do? Are they gonna come back with a heavy amount of props before their break? Very heavy with the prop idea, and since then, not so much for budget purposes. So they're gonna kind of stick with that route, or are they going back to props? What do you think?
I hope they don't bring back the props. I think that a lot of the drum corps activity has gotten very giant, colorful prop heavy. I don't think that's always bad. I mean, even take a Vanguard show like Babylon, those props are huge, but they're so effective. Take a show like Downside Up, those props are huge, but they're effective. I think a lot of drum corps has taken this idea of like using props as staging, but they've taken it times 10, and so that just takes up too much of the field. And I mean, Vanguard has some of the best drill writing in the world right now. And so they're using the whole field on it. A lot of the critiques of corps like the Bluecoats who are so progressive is that they don't really have drill anymore because they don't have room for it. With all those cubes on the field, where are you going to put drill?
And I thought that really lacked last year with the Bluecoats. I liked that show.
I still thought it was
musically.
awesome, so...
It was a great show.
But it's a valid argument.
2 years ago, Bluecoats had some cool drill because they
Yeah.
opened up the field.
There
a
was
little
cool
more.
drill last year, too. You just don't notice it as much.
You know, you think about the last 10 years, some really cool shows without props. Vagabond, that's one. Inferno,
Yeah.
that's one. Carolina Crown right here, right now. I mean, it had
Very
a
minimal
prop, but it was very
props,
minimal.
yeah.
And then they ended up with all that fabric, which I
they have a
didn't
lot
care
of
for.
tarp.
But that show was really, really probably missing some also. But so, all right, so you are picking SCV
Yes.
percussion. I'm going to go a little further out on a limb, and I'm going to go Cavaliers.
That's not that outlandish.
I mean, Cavaliers as a drum corps have been on the struggle bus
A little bit.
for a while.
But I like the percussion pick.
Their visual last year was a wreck.
Yeah.
Their brass have not been great,
Correct.
but I think they're prime for some killer drum.
They won in 2022 or 3. They won
Yeah,
drums.
it's been recent.
That's been easily, like, their drum line has been outscoring the rest of the drum corps by multiple places for like the last 3 or 4 years. I think, did I pick them in the fantasy drum corps?
We'll get to fantasy drum.
I think I might have.
Yeah, we'll get to fantasy drum corps in a little bit. They'll got a little foreshadowing
Okay.
in
Yeah,
there.
yeah.
We're not ready to talk about that yet.
Henceforward, go listen on.
Yeah, keep listening because we're going to talk about fantasy drum corps. So, all right, so percussion, you pick SCV, I've picked Cavies. How about guard? Last year I picked Crusaders leading into finals. You picked Crusaders leading into finals. Crusaders. I mean, Crusaders is the easy pick, I
Yes.
think. They are just every year. Not only are they so clean and so good, the things they do are so epically difficult.
And just different. Like, they're not gonna just throw a flag, which is already really impressive. They're gonna like do it between someone else's legs and upside down, and that's something that is just so different than everyone else.
about
and
the
they do
majorettes
it
last
so
year?
well. Yeah, awesome batons. Not something you see a lot, but it was really cool. I'll go Crusaders again. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, and I'm going to go Bluecoats.
Yeah, you think they Micah flag feature again?
I
That was
love,
pretty awesome.
I love the Blue Coats guard. I think they're so good, so cool. They match the vibe of the ensemble so well. I mean, Crusaders do too. Different vibe.
A different vibe, but they match it well, yes.
But they are just, there's so much dance and groove involved in the Blue Coats guard. Love to watch them. Love it. Visual leading into last year. We both picked Blue Coats and Blue Coats won. Visual, again, we had the props. That was, when we did our season wrap up, we talked about what little moments and like the glasses for the observer effect were another of those little visual. I don't know if how much that factors into a visual score. For
I don't
me,
know, but it's cool.
For me as the watcher, it's super
it's awesome.
cool. The blocks were great. The uniforms, which up close being a little bit shiny, was super cool, like unexpected from far away. So they won pretty easily, I think, on visual. Who you got for visual in 2026?
Yeah, give me Blue Coats again. I like what you said about the guard, where they just match the vibe so well, and that Blue Coats vibe is very, very fun and exciting and just good. And I think that their visual does that. I think that even though lots of people make the argument that there's too many props on the field last year, I think that they, even when there is too many, they utilize them in such a way that is so effective, and it never harms the production or execution of their show. Like, you could argue that there's not enough room to do drill on the field, but the drill that is there is getting crushed by those performers, and it's still effective. And I don't think that it gets any worse this year. I can't see why it would. So, I'll go Blue Coats on visual.
Solid pick. I'm going left to center again. I'm going Phantom.
Wow. Okay.
The last couple of years, Phantom comes out. They do Exogenesis, which was just a really great show.
That's fun.
They did Mind, which I could have done without like the Jazz Jam session. But the rest of that
you
show,
don't like that they played jazz, but
the rest of that show was.
Listen, everybody, Jazz is awesome. He's just old and doesn't like that Phantom Regiment's playing jazz. It was really cool.
I love jazz. I just don't like when Phantom plays jazz.
Drum corps purist over there.
But that Mind show was bonkers.
Yeah.
And then last year was really just different.
I love that show.
All the white, the curtains, the name, and when you watch the drill visually last year was so close to really great.
It was very cool.
It was very cool.
Not quite clean.
It felt to me like the drill you write when you're going to be great next year.
Okay.
Right? We're reaching because this is the drill we need to march, and the performers aren't quite there yet, but maybe they know, maybe they know something we don't know, and everybody was 20 years old in that drum corps, and now they're all 21, and we graduated but we aged out nobody, and we are ready to crush it. So I think Phantom comes out this year a little more traditional. Last year was very ethereal. I think they go a little more mainstream drum corps. I think they go a little more mainstream costume uniform, a little more typical colors.
They can't really go more progressive than not having a title for their show. So
right. No, I think they're a little more mainstream.
Yeah, guessing they reel it back in is a safe bet.
So I'm going Phantom visuals. I know I'm going way off.
Yeah, that's
way off
an interesting pick.
And finally, general effect. We both picked Blue Coats going in. Blue Coats won. General effects. We both nailed it there. General effect this year. This is tough to pick because we haven't seen anybody's props. We don't know almost anybody's show. The shows we do know are of kind of the top contenders-ish. Our Troopers are going to do a show called Into Darkness, which, by the way, they revealed last year during finals after their performance. Like, finals wasn't even over yet, and they said Into Darkness. So that's their show. Crossman, we know, it's called A-Side, B-Side. It's a lot of pop music. There's some Michael Jackson in there.
Yeah.
Which I know you love. You love
Michael Jackson.
So we don't have any idea what the props are. We have some repertoire. Blue Devils just today released like a teaser. It wasn't even a reveal video. It's just a teaser. It's got a lot of feathers and
Fire.
sort of oil slick colors
Yeah,
with
some fire in
some
there.
fire in there, and he lived or something.
Yeah, the intro is like a bunch of letters flashing.
I'm gonna
It says he
guess it's
lives.
like a phoenix rising kind of the Ashes show. Maybe
Yeah,
some,
rising from 4th place.
maybe some Firebird like Stravinsky, maybe some
That would
jazz
be
Stravinsky.
really cool.
Some jazz Stravinsky. So, all right. Anyway, GE, who you picking?
I'll go Blue Coats again. I think similar to the visuals, similar to what you said about the guard, I think that the vibe the last 2 years has been so reliable and so awesome. And GE is so much about that like energy. What energy do you give? What effect do you give? What does the audience? How much did they buy into your show? And it's been like 100% locked in. Like the Blue Coats aren't even playing yet. They take the field, and you can like feel the energy in the crowd. The music is very similar. The teaser that they released looks very similar to the teasers from last year, just a lot more circles instead of cubes. I can't see why it wouldn't be similar in all the other ways, including being awesome. So I'll take GE.
I think what they have going for them is that the performers know the assignment.
They love it.
If they're going 3 years in a row with this vibe, changes everything, observer effect, and then whatever this year is, kind of being along that same plane of existence and successful, right? Second place, first place. They know the assignment. The kids know here's what we need to give to be able to do this. So I think that's a great pick by you. And I think this may not seem like a off the reservation pick, left to center, but I think it is, and I'll explain. I'm going Boston.
Okay.
Yeah, they're the champions.
Who normally drop to out of a medalist unless it's the Blue Devils.
Who normally drop. The returning champion usually doesn't do as well.
It's very common, unless it's the Blue Devils.
But I think the Crusaders have been on this steady rise year after year after year. I think last year was a huge burden off of their backs.
To win, yeah.
To win. And I think now they can come in instead of, I don't think they're going to come in with, we were the champions cocky. I think they're going to come in with let's kick in the door again.
Yeah.
I think they're
going
to
confidence.
I think they're going to let it rip. Not that last year was holding back by any stretch of the imagination.
Not.
But I think they're going to come out and do what champions don't normally do. I think the guard is going to be great. I think that the design is going to be great, and I think I just think they're going to do it.
I would love to see that. I think like the Blue Coats are a great example from 2016 to 2017. They win downside up, revolutionizes drum corps. They knew it going into the season, like this is going to do something, and they won. And then they come back and they go, well, let's do an even bigger prop, and let's do even crazier uniforms, and let's do even jazzier music. And they got 5th. And I love Jagged Line. Jagged Line's great. I expect to love this year's Boston Crusaders show, but there's a lot of things wrong with it because they got so much more like we want to do even more. And it was not always executed to the best that it could have been. And they just kind of went the wrong direction with a lot of ideas. And that's what happens with a lot of cores the year after they win. Unless it's a dynasty, that's what usually happens.
Sure. I mean, I just don't think they're going to go, let's do it again.
I hope they don't.
I think they're freed of their burden is what I'm saying. And they can just let it rip now.
I hope they are great. I love the Boston Crusaders. I've loved their shows for like 5 years now. I hope they win.
So
not win, but
let's talk about medalists.
Let's do it.
Last year in first place we had Boston.
Yeah.
Second place we had Blue Coats. Third place was Santa Clara Vanguard.
Yeah, medaling for the first time in a while.
Okay, so give us your third place core prediction of third place.
There's a lot of drum corps. Oh, do I want to do that? Yeah, I want to do that. All right, this is a way too early prediction. So
These are way too early. We haven't seen a drum corps. We don't know what most of these shows are.
I said this last year. I said I'm getting similar vibes from Santa Clara Vanguard as I am from Phantom Regiment. And that's like they were off for a couple of years. With SCV, it was literally the corps didn't exist for a year. For Phantom, it was this core has just kind of been not great for a couple of years, but now they're rising again. I think Phantom Regiment really locks in this year. I think that this is the year they get a medal. I don't think it will be higher than third. I think I'm taking the opposite of what you just said about Boston Crusaders. I think they follow, I hope they don't, but I think they follow the normal trend of a drum corps and get fourth or fifth this year, despite the fact that I picked them in like drums or something. But I think that they get fourth or fifth. I think Phantom Regiment places third.
All right. You know, one of the things about the returning champion doing not as great is typically you're a champion when you have so many age-out vets, and then it's hard to duplicate when you go to a bunch of, not rookies, but your drum corps gets so much younger. You use a lot of leadership, a lot of veteran, all your soloists and things like that. So you're going Phantom. I think that's a great, I think that's a great pick. Your mother would be very happy if Phantom Regiment is third place. I'm going blue. I'm going Boston in third place.
Okay.
I don't think they can repeat. That's so hard to do. I mean,
very difficult.
I mean, how often? Minus Blue Devils. So, but I think they have a really solid year. I think it's going to be another fan favorite show kind of year. I think they medal again in third place. Second place.
I'll take Santa Clara Vanguard in second place. I think they've been following the same trend as Phantom. Like I said, they're going upwards. I think they've kind of found their stride of who they are as a drum corps. I was tempted to put Carolina Crown in this top three. I'm not gonna lie, because I would love to see them be good, but I just don't have the confidence that they're gonna be able to put all of the things together. The last couple of years they've had cool design things, and the brass has still been generationally good, but the visual has been kind of and the percussion is Crown percussion, and the guard is kind of and I don't see the steps forward in the off season and at the end of last year to say, yeah, they're going to medal. I think they're going to be around where Boston is in 4-5, and I think SCV just kind of bumps up another to second.
I've got SCV second also. I wrote this down before you started.
Okay.
I got SCV second. I think General Effect is kind of one of the things they've been missing. And last year they had all of the like miniature props, sort of the circles, the colors, etc.
Yes.
I think this year they kind of unify that idea into one sort of large central prop of some sort. Like they have a central focal prop that's pretty big. And, sort of reminds me of like the Finding Nirvana. That was a lot of props, but it was sort of one thing.
Yeah, it was like a circle.
I don't know what it's going to be, but like one Tower of Babylon instead of 12.
Yes.
Or one of those Nirvana props instead of 8 or whatever that was. And I think that pushes them over the edge for a lot of reasons visually, for General Effect. I think everything else locks in, and I'm going, second place.
How many props were in Ouroboros? No, they had a lot of those.
There was a lot of those round disc things.
In my head, there's only one, but there was definitely more than one.
No, there was like maybe 8 or 10 of them, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like I was thinking like that, like just a disc, like just one thing.
And who's your champion? Because I think we're going to have the same one.
I'm picking the Bluecoats. They have been either first or second every single year since COVID, and they've been first only one of those, but I think this vibe is maybe only beatable by two situations, and I think the two situations are the 2010 Blue Devils and Boston Crusaders from last year. And I think that those are like, that Boston Crusaders show was so lightning in a bottle, right moment, right time, right people, perfectly hit, and it still barely beat the Bluecoats. And the Blue Devils are not at where they were in that 2010 to 2023. And I just think that I don't see a way that if this Bluecoat show is similar and all of the pieces are still there, and I know for a fact that not very many people aged out of that drum corps last year, and it's going to be the same energy and the same vibe, and I'm so excited to see it opening night. But I think that they win drum corps.
Yeah, happy birthday. We got you tickets to opening night. Yeah, I agree. I think they're just been so consistent recently. You hit it on the head with Boston and Lightning on a Bottle. I think there was also a little bit of a heart pick. They've been so close so many times.
Yes.
They finally bumped over, and that show was great. I think it deserved to win. I think it was a better show, performed better than Bluecoats, but it was splitting hairs.
And it was so fun to watch those two shows compete all season. I hope we get another year like that where it's just back and forth between two shows that I love.
I just hope there's a lot of shows that we love again.
Last year was so good.
We're in a couple of year string here of just lots of
Peak.
top 12 really good shows.
All of Drum Corps is just peak.
Which I think I said last year at about this time, we're due for like one of those years where I just...
There's like one or two.
One or two shows that I'm like, okay, that was really great, but how many times can you enjoy Sinner Man, So, okay, well, so we got to talk about the elephant in the room, the big, giant, blue, devilish elephant in the room.
Yes.
They were fourth place last year.
They were.
That was the first time they were in fourth place since like 2006 out of the medals, I think, something like that, in like 20 years. They since, get this, I'm 51 years old.
Yes.
In my 51 years, there has only been one time where the Blue Devils have failed to medal in back-to-back years.
Wow, that's absurd.
Early 90s. There was I think 3 years in a row that they didn't medal. Wow. Since 1974, since before 1974. Okay, so what we are saying is, for the second time in half a century, they're not going to medal, which I think is stupid and absurd, and I think they're going to medal, but I didn't predict that.
Yeah, if you told me you were from the future and they're going to win,
we have in our collective top threes, Bluecoats, SCV, you have Phantom, and I have BAC, which I don't think is that far off the reservation. I think Phantom's going to be there.
Yes.
You don't have BAC. I don't have Phantom. You don't have Crown up there anywhere. My Crown is hanging around. So where are you putting the Blue Devils?
I am putting the Blue Devils in fourth again, I think. And I think that it's going to be kind of like last year, where I think 1 and 2 is going to be kind of a fight all season. I think Bluecoats and SCV are going to be pretty similar in terms of scores. I think they're going to trade captions, and it's just going to come down to who beats who by how much in each caption. I think 3 is going to be... I don't think it's going to be exactly like last year, because last year we pretty much knew where SCV was going to be at. And then 4 through 6 was a battle. I think 3 through 6 is a battle, and I think that Blue Devils, Crown, Boston Crusaders could go in any order in that spot, and along with Phantom, but I personally think Phantom's going 3, Blue Devils are going 4, and then I have no idea where I want Crown and BAC to be. I think it just depends on brass. Actually, it probably depends on percussion.
You ready for this?
Yes, I'm ready.
I'm going 6th.
Thought you were about to tell me they're not making finals.
I'm going Blue Devils in 6th. I think Phantom jumps them. I think Crown jumps them. Crown and Bluecoats, by the way, both have a little bit of an advantage over themselves in previous years. Dean Westman, program coordinator with the Bluecoats, and Matt Harloff, brass caption with Crown, are both retiring from their full-time teaching jobs.
Yes.
When you're on a full-time teaching job and with a drum corps, you leave the drum corps a lot because you got to go back, you got to do a parade, you got to go do band camp, there's band stuff to be doing. And yeah, Dean Westman taught orchestra, but he was highly involved with the Avon band program there. So both of those guys have retired from Avon. Speaking of that, how good is Avon going to be with both of those guys gone? Two-time BOA.
Probably still great.
Returning, yeah. I mean, the kids didn't go anywhere. Anyway, both of those guys are now full-time basically in drum corps all summer. I think that gives Crown the edge, a little bit of an edge.
As if they needed more of a brass edge.
I also think Blue Devils is reeling. I mean, they came out last year. From my eyes and ears, the talent was down.
I mean, they got punched in the face at every show they went to. I mean, they were just taking body blows.
And I don't think they know how to make a comeback. I think they're scrambling.
I agree.
Now, we'll talk in a minute. I think they do have a significant advantage of the Mandarins not performing. They're in that area. They're in California, Sacramento, Concord.
I agree.
I have no idea how far Sacramento and Concord are from each other, but they're all in California. And that's a big state, but not
Or do they all go to Santa Clara?
big. I hope they all go to Santa Clara. I mean, that's anyway. I think Blue Devils. I think they stumble again. I think they're dropping to.
Yeah, I don't think they're a medalist either.
I think they're dropping to 6th.
I think they could very well be there.
Or they're going to come out angry and win.
Like a phoenix rising from the ashes.
I think the other thing is,
I'll bet a lot of money that's what that show is.
you know, for a long time, the Blue
yet.
Devils have kind of had this, I don't want to say cookie cutter design, but their shows tend to look the same, sound a lot.
Yeah, they have
like
a very
each other.
strong identity.
And when that's always first place and second place, that's great. And when you suddenly are in fourth, what do you
change it up?
I mean, or not. I mean, do you stay the course with just one mistake?
I hope they change it.
Or do you change it up? And then when you change, you look at, I'm not making this prediction, okay? But you look at Madison Scouts. They were in 8th, 7th place drum corps. They said, we need to do something different. They started doing classical music. They did that Heart and Soul show. They did that Apotheosis of the Death of the Earth, whatever that, the Last Man Standing, I think it was called.
Yeah.
And they fell out of finals and can't get their mojo back.
Yeah.
I mean, can you imagine Blue Devils falling out of the top 6 because they can't? I mean, they have a system, the Blue Way.
System Blue.
System Blue. And it didn't work last year. And now I think that's going to be a really interesting storyline. How do they react and what happens this year in Blue Devils land? Speaking of Mandarins are not performing. They're taking a year off.
That's true.
For budget
Too
purposes.
bad. I like the Mandarins.
I love the Mandarins.
Can't wait for them to come
I
back.
mentioned Centerman, Life Right After. What was that show last year? The Falling Down?
And If I Must Fall.
I loved that show. It was so...
Billie Eilish, awesome. Hosier, awesome. All the music choices are great. The execution,
so
great.
cool.
Energy, great. Execution, awesome. Uniforms, cool.
Just so incredibly cool.
Peak.
So they're out. So that leaves an open spot
It does.
for somebody to bump into finals.
Yep.
So who are going to be our new finalists? Definitely we'll have one.
Yep.
Potentially 2. If you're going to pick 2, then you have to kick somebody else out. Let me review for you last year's finalists. Crusaders, obviously. Blue Coats, Vanguard. Blue Devils, Crown. Phantom. Then the Mandarins. They're out. So after Phantom, it's going to be Blue Stars, Cavaliers, Troopers, Colts, and Blue Knights.
Yep.
Were our finalists from last year. So who you putting in as a new finalist?
I got 2 new ones.
Uh-oh, okay.
I think the Blue Knights almost didn't make it last year, and their shows have not scored very highly. They've been kind of on the bubble for a couple years, and I think even with the extra spot open, I think they fall enough that they're not in. I think that in 11th place, it will be Spirit of Atlanta, which is kind of just I liked their show last year, and I
Rocket show was
want
cool.
them to make finals, and I think they could possibly do it. And then I'm also going to put Scouts in 12th because the Scouts are classic, and I appreciate when the Scouts are good at drum corps, and I hope to audition there in the fall, and so I want them to make finals.
The Madison Scouts are one of my first loves of drum corps. I've said this over the years. Madison Scouts and Phantom Regiment in the mid 90s were my first 2. This is what I love about drum corps. They're obviously very, very classical.
Yeah,
very
those are
Latin
not the
jazzy.
same at
They're
all.
not the same, but they were 2 different sides of the same coin for me. I mean, Madison Scouts, we've got 99 problems, but getting you out of your seat ain't one of them.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, and Malagueña and Malaga and City of Angels, all the greats. I would love to see Madison back in
They should just
finals.
play Malagueña for 12 minutes.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Wow.
I don't think it's going to happen.
Wow, all that for nothing.
I'm with you on Blue Knights. I think Blue Knights are out.
Nice.
I think Spirit is in. I'm with
Nice.
you. Although their show this year is I'm not excited. It's just the music of Alice Cooper.
Yeah, but it will be cool.
I don't know.
Space isn't very exciting either.
No, yeah, I don't know. But Def Leppard, that was kind of... I'm going Pacific Crest. I think Pacific Crest
That's a great pick.
makes finals. Now, that's a pretty big leap because last year they were 15th.
Yeah.
Take Mandarins out, you're 14th, right? So automatically they're up one. So they've only got to make it 2 spots. They got to leave 2 spots there. You look at the past 4 or 5 years, and their guard has been in that 12th and 11th spot pretty regularly. One year, their drums were like 10th.
Yeah.
But then the next year, the drums were 15th and the brass was 12th. I mean, they've had elements
Just
of
close.
a finalist drum corps.
Not quite.
Just, it's got to all be at the same
They
time.
have fun shows too.
They do. That It's in Our Nature was last year, was really dark and epic. So, yeah, I mean, that kind of core is really tough because, and Madison is the same way right now. I mean, how do you get into finals? Well, you have talent. And the problem with Pacific Crest and Madison Scouts and some of these other, not quite finalist drum corps is that's the place you go march when eventually you want to march Phantom, Blue Devils, Crown.
Yeah.
BAC,
How do you get people to stay?
Yeah, getting people to stay. And that's the culture aspect of like, this is our family. But it's so hard not to leave when also
Yeah, you got to convince people to not go to Crown when they see an opening late in the fall or in the winter.
Or even, I mean, if you're going to, the reason those kind of corps have their auditions after the Blue Coats and the Crowns is because they're getting that. They know who they are. We're not going to get that top tier talent.
But how do you start doing that?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Well, I mean, ask the Mandarins.
Ask the Blue Stars.
Ask the Blues. I mean, the Blue Stars have been around and really good for a long, long time. They've been kind of in and out of finals. But you look at Mandarins. Mandarins were a Division II corps and worked their way up. And now they're, well, not this year, but they've been finalists.
God, I can't wait for them to come back.
A couple of times now. Yeah, so
I hope they're back
It
next year.
can't happen. So I'm going Pacific Crest. I know that's way off the radar here. So, but that's what I'm doing because I can because it's way too early.
Way too early.
Let's talk about fantasy drum corps.
Let's do it. I don't remember these picks at all.
I had this idea. I had this idea years and years ago. People play fantasy football.
They do.
People play rotisserie or fantasy baseball. There's a lot of different fantasy leagues. I think there's even some fantasy like
Hockey.
NASCAR.
Basketball
I
is
think.
popular.
Basketball
Basketball is very popular.
So the idea of fantasy sports is you put a league together of owners. You pick players, like do a draft, and then that's your team. So you may have the quarterback from the Falcons and 2 receivers, one's from Chicago and one's from San Francisco, and then their combined stats combine to score you points for your team, and you play other players. It's a fantasy. And when you think about it, if you've not played fantasy before, you can't just pick all of the best things because
There's other people.
there's a rotation of people picking, and we can't all pick the same quarterback. What fun would that be?
Exactly.
So we have put together a fantasy drum corps league, and we've got 6 teams in our league. You got a team, or you got a corps. I've got a corps. Mom is in it, plus Bourbon Matt, our producer, Aunt Kathy, and one of our other regular guests, Dane. That is our 6-person team. We all chose corps names.
We did.
So my drum corps name is the Cynical Regiment.
Yeah.
Sort of patterned after Phantom
Of
Regiment,
course.
but it's the
You just want the
cynical
long
version
You
of
just
that.
want the long vowel.
Yeah, there's 5 A's in there. Cynical Regiment. You went a little different. Your drum corps is
The blue somethings.
the blue somethings. I got the
Blue
Knights,
Knights,
the
blue
Coats,
Stars,
the
blue
Devils,
Coats,
the
blue
all the
Devils.
blues and the blues, and so you've gone with that. Matt has named his Matt's Marvelous Marchers. We'll talk with him another time. It's named after a 2nd grade macaroni project or something like that. Mom's name is called the Crimson Dawn. Now that's beautiful for a couple of reasons.
Star Wars.
One is it's a Star Wars reference, the Crimson Dawn, plus also her name is Dawn, so very cool. And Crimson is a very drum corps thing, right? Like you gotta have.
Be not very smart. I didn't even catch on to the Dawn thing until right now.
Well, you don't call her Dawn.
I know.
very often.
It doesn't occur to me that that's her name.
Aunt Kathy's is called the Night Sisters, which is also cool because she's my sister. And also it's a Star Wars reference to the Witches of Dathomir, the Night Sisters. And then Dane's drum corps is called Snare Force One.
Nice.
Snare, but also Air Force One, Snare Force One.
250th.
250, yeah. America. So the idea here was that we all picked 5 captions: brass, percussion, guard, visual, and general effect.
Yeah.
2 drum corps from in each of those 5 categories.
Yeah. Which means we had to pick some not great, there are some non-finalists picked here.
There are some
a lot of them.
There are definitely some non-finalist picks. We've got the Academy Guard.
Ooh.
We have Pacific Crest.
Who picked
Guard.
the Academy? Matt?
Matt. Matt made some just throw a dart at the board picks, I think.
They might win. You never know.
I have to ask him about some of his picks next time around. Dane picked the Pacific Crest Guard. Matt picked Madison Scouts Percussion.
That's not a bad thing.
You picked Madison Scouts General Effect.
I did.
And then we had some Spirit of Atlanta. Dane has Spirit of Atlanta Brass. And Kathy has Spirit of Atlanta Visuals. And then there's a bunch of Blue Knights. Blue Knights were barely finalists last year. So let's talk about our brass picks. In round 1, you went Blue Coats Brass. Really, I mean, that's a pretty easy pick.
Yeah, I can't really go wrong with that.
Yeah, can't go wrong there. And then later in the draft, in round 6, you went Blue Stars.
Yeah.
And since you are the blue somethings, were you trying to just pick all blues?
I was picking the right picks. I wanted brass early. I wanted, if I could at any point in the draft, and it was a good idea to pick something from a core that starts with blue, I was going to do it over somebody else that was the same level just because it goes with the name. But it wasn't there's a lot of picks on there that aren't from cores that start with blue.
Right.
But blue coats, brass, easy pick. I don't know if someone picked Crown before me or if I just don't have that much confidence in Crown as a drum corps right now. But I was just blue coats is easy. It's my favorite drum corps. I know their brass is going to be good, and they start with blue. And then Blue Stars, I think that their brass line is the most underrated brass line in all of drum corps the last 2 years. Go watch a lot video. They are cooking. They are an amazing brass line. There's some other things about their shows that haven't been great execution wise, and that's kind of why they're in that 7th or 8th range. But their brass is not the problem. Their brass was 5th last year. They have a very good brass line, and that was kind of late in the draft too. I feel like that was a steal for me.
Yeah, the Crown was not picked when you picked Blue Coats, but there's no way you picked Crown over the Blue Coats.
No, it's way more consistent pick to pick Blue Coats.
Blue Coats did better last year and have done better the last couple of years. It's been close. Crown has been very good. For my brass picks, I went pretty early. I waited on brass because of how the picks were happening. I got Santa Clara in round 5. You want to talk about a steal?
Yeah, it's
Santa
crazy.
Clara Brass in round
how they felt like that.
in round 5. And then my other brass pick was my very last pick. Most people went brass pretty early.
Yeah.
And so by the time we were 2/3 of the way through this draft, everybody had picked brass. So I was well, I'm not picking brass because the Blue Knights are going to be there because everybody else has picked. So I've got Blue Knights, brass, which we both think are going to not be finalists.
Yeah.
But I think the brass are some of the best parts of Blue Knights is the brass line. So for percussion, you waited on percussion a really long time. You went round 5, you went Cavaliers, and round 7, you went Troopers.
Yeah, that round 5 pick is who you picked to win percussion, by the way. So that could be a really good pick if you're right.
Yeah, if I'm right, yeah, that could happen.
That is going to be a really good drum line. What was the other one?
Troopers.
And that's a great pick also. At that point in round 7, I was just looking for captions that were outplacing where the core placed on finals and semifinals, and Troopers drumline placed 2 or 3 spots higher than they did as an overall drum corps, and so I just went with that.
Yeah, their drums are very, very solid every year. I went round 2, I got Boston Crusaders. Man, if they have another perfect score, I'm looking pretty good. Granted, nobody does that. So, but yeah, they're very good. So that's a really solid pick for me. I waited a long time for my next percussion and got the Colts in round 8. Not sure how I feel about that, but they were the best available.
Yeah, that could be okay.
They're the best available at the time. Guard, I was first pick because we went alphabetical by first name. So I got first pick in the draft. I went right away. Boston Guard, round 1. They are the most reliable every year, year in and year out. They're going to get first or second every single year. So I went that. And then my other guard pick was Blue Stars. And I think the Blue Stars has a really good guard every single year. I went round 6, Blue Stars.
Good pick.
You have the Blue Coats. In round 3, you picked the Blue Coats. And in round 8, you picked the Colts.
And I mean, we just talked about how great the Blue Coats guard is, and then the Colts were kind of just the highest one available. Kind of the same deal as my Troopers percussion pick. I was just trying to find someone that was outplacing the core. Their guard scored like 1 place higher than their core did, so that was my pick there.
And when you get to round 7, 8, 9, it's 10. It's not only best available, it's what's available and what you need.
Exactly.
I mean, when you need this thing, you got to pick the best one, and so forth and so on. So let's go to visual. In round 4, you picked the Blue Devils. In round 9, you picked Blue Knights.
Yeah, that's a rough caption for me. I don't feel too bad about Blue Devils visual. Picked them getting in 4th, but visual is not usually their issue. In 24, it was because of some design decisions. Those capes that they wore for the first half of the show did not do them any favors at all. But I think they stay away from issues like that. I think visual, I feel like they're pretty consistent there. And then my other one was Colts. Blue Knights? Blue Knights. That's a not great pick. I don't feel outstanding about that, but it was the best thing left.
It was round 9.
Yeah, it was what I could do.
Got to take what you got to take. My round 4 pick in the visual category is Carolina Crown. Some years they're great. Other years
they get absolutely wrecked, like 2023. They got like 7th in visual.
I'm kind of hoping they have a good year, obviously. And then I waited till round 7 and got the Blue Stars. I typically love the Blue Stars visually.
Oh, that's fun.
Their drill is super moving. I mean, they run around the field. Last year, they had all of the crazy fun sports stuff.
Yeah, they just played sports.
They don't always score well, but I'm excited to have them on my team because I like the Blue Stars visually. We go to general effect real early, round 3. I picked the Boston Crusaders.
Good pick.
They're almost always my favorite show, so why not pick them for general effect? That was a really good one. And then again, here I go. I'm hoping that the Cavaliers pull something out because in round 9, I got the Cavaliers.
Yeah, I mean, you're grasping at
general effect. Yeah, I mean, it's round 9. You got to do what you got to do. In round, round 2, you picked Blue Devils. You got 2 Blue Devils on your team, buddy.
Yep.
I got none. I avoided the Blue Devils.
I gotta hope that I'm wrong about where they place.
Yeah, you do. So Blue Devils is in round 2 for general effect, and Madison Scouts in round 10.
Here's the thing. Visual-wise, I said the Blue Devils visual is not usually the issue. And that's true. What's even more true is that general effect is really not the issue. If you go back and look caption by caption at like the last 5 shows from last year, going back to Innovations in Brass and Canton, they're placing 2nd or 3rd in general effect, even though they're getting 4th. Go back to previous years that they haven't won. 2024, they're like 1st or 2nd in general effect at almost every show. Say it's the Blue Devils bias, say it's their general effect is just really good. Either way, they're almost guaranteed. It's like Crown Brass. It's just they're gonna do well in general effect. It just always happens that way. And so that's why I picked them. And then Madison Scouts, I said like, I hope to be contributing to the effect next year, so I'll just pick Scouts as in like round 10. So.
Yeah. And by the way, if a core does not make finals, we will use their semifinal score to factor this in. We're going to update these scores weekly once we start having shows. And of course, drum corps don't always perform on the same day, so there'll be some delay in whether the score is the most up-to-date score. So, sometimes scores don't perform for 3, 4, 5 days, and so scores will be a little, but we'll have rankings weekly throughout the season. We'll have caption winners, so the best fantasy brass, best fantasy guard, etc., and then best first place. Of course, we got a trophy.
We do.
Well, we don't have a trophy yet, but we will.
I was going to say, I didn't know we had one.
We plan to have I'm hoping for like sort of a traveling trophy, like one of those ones with
it be like the really
base?
big fidget spinner Sid the symbol?
We should put a big...
I want a really huge symbol.
We should do that. We got to call...
Can we make one out of an actual symbol? Like, can we take a real symbol and like spray paint the face on it and then like have an actual symbol be Sid the symbol?
Who we going to get to do that? We could just 3D print a really big fidget.
Yeah, I know, but it would be so cool if it was an actual symbol.
I'm not wasting a real symbol. It's going to be a traveling
What, you don't
trophy.
use these symbols?
Like the Stanley Cup. Like we'll engrave every year on the bottom and then it'll go around.
We can do that on a symbol.
Yeah, sure. Okay. Well, let me handle unless you're paying.
I'm good.
Okay, then let me handle the design.
I got to do some saving.
All right, this was fun. Way too early predictions. We're going to be back. Early. We're going to have you back in a couple of weeks once we know some more shows, and we'll talk through shows, see if that changes our predictions. We'll give ourselves a chance to change our picks before the season starts, just to see what's going on, and then we'll come back regularly throughout the season and kind of, I don't know.
Check in?
Yeah, just check in and talk about
drum corps. I'm just going to be completely
corps.
wrong on every single one of them.
That's why they're way too early. That's why they're fun predictions.
Early.
Fun predictions. Mel Kiper's not always right about the NFL draft either.
That's true.
So,
he's pretty good at his job. I'm like the Mel Kiper of drum corps.
Are you?
If you really think about it.
You don't have nearly as good of hair.
Ooh. Is that the case?
Hey, anyway, thanks for joining me today. We will talk to you again soon.
Yeah.
No, green on your happy plate.
What do you mean you can't be at the summer parades? Summer parades. This is not really about the kids that don't come to the summer parades. This is more about the parade and that it's summer, but mostly it's about the people that comment on why the kids aren't at the parade. Why is the band so small? Where's all the trumpets? How come there's no cymbal players? Look, lawn chair quarterback. Let me clue you into something. It's summer. You know when families go on vacation? Summer. Do you know when factories are on shutdown? Summer. Do you know when people go to their lake? The holidays. Do you know when kids are supposed to get away from school and teachers and relax? Summer. Do you know when the seniors are done and the freshmen aren't really high school kids yet? Summer. When you want to watch a parade. So how about if we make a deal? Either you don't require the bands to perform in your summer community parade, and I know it's an expectation, and bands do have a responsibility to support the community that they are a part of. So how about this? Just be thankful that the band is there and that some kids have been able to make it a priority and that the band is there at all. And you know what? Rarely, if ever, did the parade committee complain about missing kids. It was never the committee. They were always thankful. We're glad you're here. Thanks for being here. We know it's summer. They got it. They understood. It's the lawn chair quarterback who has decided that you should require, air quotes, kids to be at a summer parade and has already judged you for not having as many kids as they think you should have. Summer parades. I feel better. You want to go to a parade? Yeah, me neither. Homework for the week. This is week 6 of our book suggestion series. For the last 5 weeks, we've given you 2 books each of books that we have read, summer light, fun, beach, pool, maybe not, whatever reads that you might want to read. Now we're going to give you what we want to read this summer. So these are not officially suggestions because we've not read them yet, but there is a reason why we want to. We've got 5 each. So Dawn, let's start with your first one.
All right, so I've been on the wait list on Libby for months already, and hopefully that comes available by June, is The Correspondent by Evans. This has come super highly recommended by all the people I know who love books and whose recommendations I trust.
So I'm going with Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman. I recently watched all of the seasons of Only Murders in the Building, and so then therefore somebody recommended this to me when I was talking about it. So it's supposedly these 4 older people that get together and start to solve cold cases together. So it's similar to, but then I also learned it's a series of books. So I don't know how I'm going to negotiate a 4-book series into the whole thing, but I don't know, at least want to read the first one.
They read fast.
They read fast. Okay. So that's my first one, Thursday Murder Club. Number 2.
Another one that I've been on the wait list for a while and that has come highly, highly recommended is Theo of Golden by Levi. I don't even really know exactly what it's about, but so many people have told me I need to read it that it's on the list.
And you certainly have this core of people that, like, if they recommend something, you know whether to trust it or not, because
Right.
you've been in book clubs and just online, and Goodreads makes suggestions too. My second one is way off the radar. Not. It's a Star Wars book, but wait, before you turn off you don't want to read Star Wars books. This is called Verily A New Hope by Ian Deschler, and it is a retelling of Star Wars movie A New Hope, but in iambic pentameter using Shakespearean language, and it is in a play type of format. So it is Shakespeare, but it's Star Wars, and it combines the two. And he's done 6 or 7 of these versions of all the different movies and things. So Verily A New Hope by Ian Deschler.
All right. So last summer, I read the first 3 books of the Throne of Glass series by Sarah J. Maas, not really sure how you pronounce her name. And I loved book 1 and 2, and I stalled out on book 3 and had to just move on. So I'm going back. I'm going to reread book 3 and try to power through the rest of the series this summer. My teacher friends that love romantasy are adamant that if I get on to book 4, I'm gonna want to plow through.
Okay.
So,
Are you going to start back at the beginning? Or are you
no,
just going to pick
I'm going to pick back up at the end of book 3, I think.
My third book recently changed because it was Dark Matter, because I had not read that. But then I read it because I couldn't resist, and I loved it, so then I had to replace it. So I've replaced it with Incursion, which is also by Crouch, same author as Dark Matter. I have no idea what it's about, but his books are fast-paced, they read real quick, and so I'm going to be all in on Incursion.
All right. And then I had a hard time picking some of the others. I have a couple of things on my list that are being released soon. So I went with Summer Island by Hannah because I usually like anything by Hannah. And then also it's Summer Island, so it feels like a read for the summer.
Sure. I mean, it's on an island and it's in the summer. What could go wrong?
Right.
My fourth one is called Space Opera. It's by Catherine Valente. I think Valente. It's sci-fi, it's comedy, it's fast-paced. That's all I know, but it's been recommended on sci-fi lists again and again. And so I'm going Space Opera by Catherine Valente.
All right, and then my last one is the newest Louise Penny book is coming out, Miss Walcott's Ghost. I don't even know how many of her books I've read. 17, 18, I don't know. She has a whole series. She wrote a couple books with Hillary Clinton that were great. This one is the newest one. It's going to be released, and I'm excited for it.
And my last one, this will be the last book I read on this list. These were not in order necessarily, but this will be the last one. It is called Path of Deceit, and it's the first book of Phase 2 of the High Republic series of Star Wars novels. In the fall/winter, I read Phase 1, which was 9 books, and then I've had to take a break, because sometimes when you read a chunk of the same story, like, I need to take a break. In true Star Wars fashion, Phase 2 goes 150 years before Phase 1, because
Star Wars.
Well, it's like Yoda, right? He talks out of order too. And so Path of Deceit is the beginning of Phase 2, and it is the first book of, I think, 7 books in that series. So I'll read it last and then plow through the next 7. Which one are you reading first? Were those in order?
I mean, I would start with The Correspondent or Theo of Golden if I had the option, but I'm waiting on those to come available.
I'll probably go Incursion first because I think that's
We
pretty
own
quickie.
that already.
We
so.
own it. Then it'll definitely be first. I don't even need to spend money to buy it. Dawn, thanks for going through this 6-week series of books. It's fun. Definitely 2 very different lists.
Sure.
Except there's been some.
There's some in common.
There's some crossover there. Some I recommended to you. Some you recommended to me. You also read Starter Villain.
I did.
For sure. And then Running with Sherman, Born to Run.
The Crouch novels.
And the Crouch novels. So yeah, there is some crossover there. So let us know what you're reading. You can text the show by clicking the link at the bottom of the description, or you can reach us via social media and tell us what you've read or what we've read that you think would also be things that we would like. Until then, happy reading. Okay, that's the show. Make sure you leave a rating, drop a comment, or send a message on the app of your choice. You can text the show with the link at the bottom of the description. You can check out our merch store at themarchingarts.com/RHS and find our YouTube channel at Robert H. Sloan RHS Music. We hope you'll join us next week for Clone Wars Season 3, Episodes 1 and 2, and Technology Download Times. Thanks for joining me today. The theme music is Superfly, written by me, copyright RHS Music. The show logo is designed by John Suh. This show is produced by my sister, Kathy. I hope you'll join us next time for more reflections and rantings on symbols and cynicism.